Hello, our friends, Evolutionary Energy Arts family. Welcome, guys. Please do subscribe to all three channels if you haven't. Had that little bell clicked. You know, there's a feature over here where you could go in and search over on the channel and see what might pop up. This is over on Evolutionary. And you could see some of the titles. I mean, we've been talking about everything that's happening for years. And those that have followed us, for 6 years or so, you know that, what we've been sharing with you is turning out to be pretty darn accurate.
It is. And things are just unfolding, the way we've been saying they're going to unfold. And, despite a lot of people, I don't think we speak the most popular language, but it's the truth.
Yeah, well, we didn't come here to speak popular stuff. We came here to point out what's going on, and everything is speeding up. This is a time of rapid change. You could think of this as the speeding up of the sand pouring out of the hourglass, counting down to the real go time, and we are on that real go time. And we've been telling you for years that they plan a civil war right before the big attack comes on the U.S. and NATO. And we could see that is manifesting itself. And again, if you don't want to hear any of the news and you just want to hear more spirituality, because again, we're going to be discovering as a whole, and it's going to shake people to the core, that their religious point of view, the mainstream religious point of views, are going to turn out to be totally inaccurate. But that doesn't mean there's nothing. Quite the opposite. It's better than what you've been told as far as the spiritual reality of things. We are co-creators here. We have all sorts of potential. Each one of us is, a unique expression of source. And that's beautiful because, there's a reason why no two people see the world exactly the same, because we're not supposed to.
No. We're supposed to see it from our particular view and our own translation and not someone else's.
Yeah, absolutely. And some people will look at a work of art and they won't get it. And other people will look and be amazed. And, that's fine. That's the way it is supposed to be. One size never fits all. Never. As you see a B-2 Spirit bomber flying over Miami. Yeah, exactly what this says. Can you imagine, say, 50 years ago, what if it was, back in the 60s, you saw something like this flying over? You would certainly think, oh my God, it's an alien invasion. Yeah, but we know it's not necessarily an alien invasion, although there are very similar to these, B2s, pretty similar craft that really very well may and often do contain humans and non-humans at the same time. That is a combination of controlled from our military and extraterrestrial.
Well, I think this is going to become more and more common. They're going to show these things off more and more.
Yeah, and B2s, we've all, well, maybe we haven't, but many of us have seen B2s. Many of us have seen TR3Bs, which you can tell, there's the same sort of technology behind it. Of course, the propulsion's very, very different. But as we've shared with you guys, we've seen some things that will boggle the mind. And I totally forgot yesterday to share some photos with you I was meaning to share. I will dig them up for the next video. So here is Kevin McCarthy. Today is indeed a dark day for the United States of America. This is his tweet. It is unconscionable for a president to indict the leading candidate opposing him. 46 kept classified documents for decades. I and every American who believes in the rule of law stand with President number 45 against this grave injustice. House Republicans will hold this brazen weaponization of power accountable. And of course, you got to realize, first and foremost, I think more people are realizing now than ever that there is a power structure besides the ones that we see that has more control than the ones that we see. In fact, the ones that we see are just to keep the humans, thinking they're in some sort of control here. So what is going on is absolutely, it's another big play in the drama that's unfolding before us in order to manipulate people's emotions. And you have Andy Biggs losing his mind over the new indictment, declares America has now reached a WAR phase. Yeah. Well, this has been planned. And, again, back in 2017, I spoke about this, that this is part of what they have to have, or they think they have to have, before, they let all the sleepy cellular units really go crazy, and the dragon invades and the bear invades the U.S. and NATO. Yeah, absolutely. This is just to be expected. Of course it's going down like this. It's so predictable, and this is the thing, if you go back into this search bar, go check out Evolutionary and go check out EEARTS. We have more of the controversial stuff up on Evolutionary, and Evolutionary, by the way, they gave us notice on July 11th they're going to remove its YouTube partnership because, they're not going to ever allow it to get remonetized. We applied several times and they shoot it down all the time. You have to remove all the content that is going against YouTube's policies. But, those words are so vague. They include things like, is your content potentially upsetting? What isn't potentially upsetting to somebody out there? Of course, so is it really, they should just simply say, does it expose too much of what's going on in the true control matrix? Well, yeah, if it does, then, you can't be part of our power structure. You can't take part. You will not be able to buy or sell. Yes, absolutely. So, again, and Biggs also called for an eye, invoking the ancient code of Hammurabi. So, again, people might think an eye for an eye, a tooth for a tooth. The first place that comes from is the BIBLE, but in fact, the code of Hammurabi is where we also get things like, the Ten Commandments. In reality, there's nothing in the BIBLE that is unique, really. It's just taken from other older sources, put together as a control mechanism. And this is part of the big reveal, as you see MTG here. And she says 45 was impeached over a perfect phone call asking questions about a Ukrainian prosecutor who was fired at the direction of 46, who was at that time VP. All the while, FBI has information on 46 and his son. And yeah, do you know why 46 is in there? It's because he's the perfect one to be in there at this time to show the hypocrisy of what's going on. And if you wondered, why would they bring in 45? Because he really inflamed the left. That's why they brought 45 in. That's why he had, his own TV show before. And that's why he was making appearances in the, the World Wrestling Entertainment, WWE, and when it used to be WWF. This is all why, to get him more acclimated as a household name to everybody, then, have him become, the president, and he's going to really incite that duality, and he's going to have people on the right loving him and people on the left hating him. And when you look right before him, you had Barry O, again, people on the right couldn't stand him, and people on the left loved him. Not everybody, but it's all about who can we get to portray the leader of the free world, that's going to be as divisive as possible. And if you still haven't caught on to this, I don't know. I don't know if there's enough coffee in the world, but hopefully there is.
It is really unfortunate, the game that they play on people in a very emotional way. That pendulum, they need that pendulum to swing really far one way and really far the other way. And the best way to do that is to have magnets at each end, pulling, pushing, because that's what drives the train. That's what keeps everything going. If we were to all put down our hats and say, no, we're going to do our own thing, well, then the game would be over. So they have to keep this going, and they need to sensationalize anything and everything that they can. They need people to be as angry and seething as possible, because this is how they keep things, under control, is through anger and fear. It's a very powerful emotion. It has a lot of driving force behind it. And if they're the ones steering it, well, they're the ones, they can control it. And it's up to us. Are we going to keep following, or are we going to cut that cord?
Yeah, absolutely. And you look at, we go in again from the Barry and Mike show to the Don and Melania show. You again, you can't, and then you go back and we look at the Clintons, and then we look at the Bush family, and oh, take your pick. It's never good when you look at the top of this acting structure. You're not looking at people of high value and high values. No, it's all about, again, finding the right cast of characters to drive the show that can emotionally engage with their audience. This is emotional engagement with the audience. Absolutely. So, again, what are they doing now? They're trying, again, to pull you in one way or another. As you see, the titles, and, threatening the CIVILWAR, descending on Miami Tuesday. Well, again, what do we see over Miami? We see a B2. Yeah, this is what they're pushing. And they try to insult on both sides. And the real thing to take away is, as long as we are taking a side, you're still buying what they're selling. They don't care. They really don't care which side you take, because they're going to spank one side, during one administration in some ways, and they're going to appease, the other, and then it's just going to switch later on. This is what they do. These talking heads, who could take any of them serious? I mean, we shouldn't be taking any of them serious. We should look at everything they say, every statement out there, and, fake news, CNN, they're all fake news. They are all fake. This is the thing to realize. You're never going to get it straight. It's part of the ploy. They want you, again, they want to replay in a new way. And there's a lot of people that really can't understand, how could this possibly happen? How could we possibly have a 1861 occurrence again? Who's going to fight who? They just want the chaos. They just want the chaos. They have their actors in position, and their actors are in positions that many would think that they're cheering on their side, and that's the whole point of it. That's the whole point. He stored classified documents in his bathroom. Talk about the whole thing is,
I don't know. I'm just looking at that bathroom thinking, boy, those are some nice taxpayer dollars going on.
Yeah, they laugh at that. Republican says FBI has a mole called One Eye. Well, yeah. Who's feeding info to Biden? Yeah, sure. Yeah, I mean, honestly, when I look at these guys, they look kind of insane. Honestly, they kind of look a little bit like they're the Joker from Batman or something. It's interesting. Again, the Emerald tablets talk about they will not be able to hold their form. The true controllers won't be able to hide. No, you're not looking at Mad Max. You're just looking at a weekend in Philly. Yeah, this is what things have degraded to, people walking around with flamethrowers, and it's just taken as normal. And we can't keep track of all the shootings. At least 9 are shot in a targeted and isolated incident in San Francisco's Mission District. As we've been saying, if you really truly want to keep safe in these times, as best as you can, you need to get out of the big cities, because it is going to get very Mad Max-ish. And here we see a fact sheet on weapons of mass destruction, threat reduction efforts with Ukraine, Russia, and other former Soviet Union countries. This was just talking about the fact that, that it tries to justify, why would you ever take something that's bad and make it worse? And, again, what we've been told about certain labs in Ukraine, and then they use that as justification. Will they uncover some of their own doings? Yeah, of course. And as long as they point the finger to the left or to the right, or to the communists or to the capitalists, whatever, humanity still suffers. As you see people, I don't know, their blood must be too thick or something. Maybe those hats are too tight. But one after another having issues and fainting. Yeah. Oh, that's just getting started, as bad as it seems. And some of the numbers say 600,000 a year just in the U.S. Are being lost, according to insurance numbers. Yeah, it's going to be accelerating. Remember, the sickle maker himself said it takes 10 to 12 years before you would know you have a massive disaster underway. But then we wonder, how are we going to get to those Georgia numbers? You remember that thing that blew up? And then it seems like everything has kind of gone crazy ever since. Some people have said, yeah, that was a go sign. Yeah, and some people took it as, hey, this is great. Somebody's saying no to the N-O with that W in the middle. Well, it looks like it was more of a go sign than anything. And still, it's humanity that gets played. As the wildfires up in Canada, the smoke has now crossed the Atlantic, being experienced in Europe. Yeah, and you're seeing numbers out there that are everywhere. It's like all of a sudden, all these experts in climate change have just popped up out of Twitter, and you get some people that think Elon is a good guy. Have you ever heard of good cop, bad cop? I mean, it's such a basic ploy, and that's who Elon is. Elon's going to be the carrot, while others offer the stick. But, they're popping up out of nowhere. All the people pushing that climate change agenda all of a sudden. Well, it's the system that has screwed up the globe and really worked on extinction for so many species. And now at a time when there's, I forget some of the numbers I've seen. It's incredible, the numbers of businesses involved in supplying food around the world that no longer exist. They've been burnt to the ground. That's been put out of business. And now, all of a sudden, they want to change things now, all of a sudden. Well, yeah, because there's a new agenda underway. There's a new prime focus. Meanwhile, over here in my own, in the Philippines, 10,000 people evacuated, eruption alert raised. Yeah, the volcanic activity is going up. And again, the technology employed here is enough to make people think it's the actual creator of the universe that's doing it. But it's not. It's never been. It's never been, because it is a free will zone, but that also allows for dark agencies, dark agents, dark players to make themselves out as the creator of the universe and use their technology to scare the little humans. Massive sinkhole opens up. This is in Florida. We also have one up in Calgary. Yeah, there is changes underway. There are changes, I should say, underway. And some of it is the fact that people are really catching on to everything that is in play, but yet it's not enough. As you see, CHEM trails over Eastbourne just in time for the weekend to block out that altering, awakening sunshine, which again, the light brings information. And this is why they are covering it up. Toxic sky. Time to do something for our kids. We can't accept this any longer. No, aluminum, bariums, it just goes on and on and on. And biologicals, and you're wondering about the impact on the environment. Absolutely, that's affecting everything. They're not going to point that out, though. No, but they are letting us know, too, because, there was another reference to, hey, we're starting to do some cloud seeding to alleviate some drought conditions. But more and more people that are, quote unquote, experts are coming out and pointing out the obvious that's been going on forever. And they used to look at us like we were, three-headed, red-headed stepchildren from Mars, when no, we were right the entire time, saying this stuff since the 80s and the 90s, some of us. Yeah, now you can hire this company to block the sun. Order in the next 15 minutes. Can you? Oh my gosh, can you just realize the craziness? Attorneys representing UAP whistleblower David Grouch have formally ended their association representation of the former intelligence officer who has claimed the U.S. has recovered non-human technology. So, again, is this because, he's bucking the trend and he's exposing it, or is that just simply another way to give him legitimacy? And because, again, at some point in time, they will be introducing to you those giants and saying, hey, they have the technology to clean all this up. We just got to, let them come on down and let them do their thing. And, by the way, they're going to take over the political structure of the planet.
And they definitely have to create a big, huge mess and then have some entity come down and be a huge hero and do everything that needs to be done to clean it all up. And so many people are going to be, well, we just need something. We just need fairness. We just need justice. And they might even look to that alien force to bring fairness and justice, but we're just buying back into the same old thing. I mean, we need to be working with each other, not continuing to hold up or prop up this facade of leadership, because they're only leading us to do what's beneficial to them. That's it. When children go to school, they're not taught how to think. They're taught what to think. And that's very, very important for their mission. They have to have people isolate their minds and just be driven in one certain direction. And that's why we have the educational indoctrination system, and it goes really far beyond just K through 12. It goes on up, through the Rockefeller Business Academy. Basically, it's just to keep people working for them from cradle to grave. Very, very important.
Parroting what we're hearing from the politicians, and saying the same old statements that we're taught to say, it's all just a leftist agenda, or it's all just a rightist, or it's all just a capitalist, or all just a communist. All these things are things they've taught us. All these things. We could learn from nature. Nature knows instinctively when something's bad. If you look to the animals, they know more than we do in most cases, really instinctively, because they're not programmed like we are from birth. We are programmed and indoctrinated since the day we're born, and some people can't get certain things out of their system. Even when they wake up and recognize, that there is a distortion underway, there's some things they can't let go of. It's a warm, comfortable blanket because it's been so indoctrinated into us, and they can't let go of certain concepts. And so, they're waiting for the second coming physically, or they're waiting for, that Camelot moment. There's going to be the right king to come and save us. And the whole concept that we have to get rid of is that whole concept of kingship. Again, kingship is given from on high. Yeah, it's given from really the dark lower fourth density beings that are trying to lock us down into serving them. It's all about serving them, and we have to recognize that we're all unique expressions, but we can work together to get ourselves out of this situation. And no, it's not going to be one big revolution of sorts immediately. It's going to be little pockets of freedom that are going to develop, where people are working together. People are saying, nope, this isn't any good. We can't trust this food. We're going to grow our own. We can't trust this water. We're going to, drink from what we know is safe, and we'll find out ways to make it safe. And we're not going to use the monetary system that they give us, because that is all about controlling every aspect of us. You just need to go within to find true spirituality. You don't need to go searching in any books. And yes, pretty much every single religious system out there has been in some way, shape, or form distorted by the control grid. Again, you're best off going within, taking the time to clear out your temple, which is your body. And, the way to do that is to ditch the things that come in those little funny containers that the birds are getting rid of. That's one of the prime ways to do it. As long as you're taking things that come in those containers, yeah, something's being altered in you, in your system. And generally, it might get rid of one symptom, but it's also going to give you other issues. This is the way the system works. So, we are not DRs, and we are grateful for that. Again, each has to find their own way. We just want to help others out there wake up to the big picture, and that is that all this is one massive manipulation.
I know, one huge, huge, huge illusion. And when you are able to go within, let's talk tithing for just a moment too, because we talk temple. The temple is truly you. And what is tithing really? If you were to stop everything you're doing and simply give that percentage of time to yourself, and engaging with yourself, taking care of yourself, being good to yourself, spending that time in quiet meditation, prayer, call it what you want. This is what is owed to you. It's not the other way around. You don't give to someone else to do blessings. That they have it all backwards. We need to go within, find out what is going on in our own soul, heal that so that we can stand in our power. After you have this healing done, then you're not going to tolerate any of this bullying any longer.
So maybe, some will see things in a new light out there and recognize when they automatically, instinctively are triggered, and they start going to say a phrase that they were taught to say, and whether it has anything to do with Pledge of Allegiance or making something, nice again, let's just put it that way, si se puede, or whatever it is, out there again, it's just showing the programming. It's showing the programming, like the Nicene Creed. It's programming. We believe in, see, you're being programmed. And they've programmed all of us from birth. Can we shed our programming? Can we see the big picture? Can we truly say, no more. We get you. We get you. You guys are full of it. And we're not buying it anymore, just like these little guys.
I know. They know what's going on, and they're so adorable.
As always, God bless and namaste.
Namaste.